Gobble, gobble, wonderful humans. Welcome back to Board Game Dads. My name is Anthony,
My name is Eric.
and we are here to talk Thanksgiving. Now, this is a board game holiday spotlight on a specifically American holiday. There is a Canadian Thanksgiving as well, but for the most part, it's an American thing. So, all of our foreign listeners, I'm sure there's tons of you. Apologize for not including you in this, but I highly doubt that you're watching anyway. Anywho, Eric, Thanksgiving
Anthony.
has long been, in my opinion, a forgotten holiday, right? You got Halloween, which basically kicks off the whole holiday season, in my opinion. And I mean, as of today, we're recording this on the 14th of November. There's plenty of houses on my street that already have their Christmas lights on,
Right.
like flashing on, not just
Oh, yeah.
on.
Our neighbors over here have the Christmas tree up in the window already.
Awful, awful. So I feel like
Now,
Thanksgiving always gets brushed over.
I got to disagree with you there because
Yeah.
you don't necessarily need to decorate for Thanksgiving, but
Yeah.
you don't have to work, right? So it's a national holiday where nobody has to work. Well, I mean, a lot of people work retail, but a lot of the jobs that like would typically give you off for holidays, you get off for Thanksgiving. You don't get off for Halloween.
True.
So you could say it's kind of looked over, but at the same time, like it's a pretty big event. They got a parade. I love the parade. Parade's one of
Yeah.
my favorite parts about Thanksgiving.
I do love the parade as well. The first time I ever saw someone have an inflatable decoration in front of their house was a turkey.
Nice.
And it was just, to me, it was hilarious. It was the first time I ever saw like just an inflatable thing, and it was a just giant turkey. I thought it was the funniest thing. Um, as a kid, the the Thanksgiving tradition has obviously changed and evolved over the years in terms of where the feast takes place, right? And as a
Right.
kid, we would always go to my mom's aunt and uncle's house, and they lived pretty far away. I forget where it was. Well, it felt far away. Maybe it wasn't that far. But for me, it was like I'm packing up all my toys, like my Legos, my cars, and everything, because there was no other, like, I had no cousins that were there, and there were
Mm.
no other kids there. It was just me and a bunch of adults. And for me, it was just like, let's play with toys and things like that. And usually there was football on, which is always a good memory as well. And back in the day, I don't remember what year this stopped, but WWF or WWE now, Survivor Series used to always be on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. It was Thanksgiving Eve event. And I thought it was so cool. And now everything's on a Sunday in terms of like pay-per-views and things like that.
Yeah. Another thing about Thanksgiving. Now, I worked at a movie theater for like 10, 15 years. And as a kid, as an adult, it was never really like, a thing to go to the movies on Thanksgiving. But working at the movie theater, I had to work every Thanksgiving.
Mm.
And so either the day shift or the night shift. And, we would eat dinner around my schedule. But a lot of people, a lot of big movies would come out. That's like a big holiday. A lot of
Yeah.
people like to go and watch movies Thanksgiving holiday. I guess they come over, they eat, and then they're like, well, now what? And then get out of the house, and so we can clean everything, go watch a movie. I think most of the Harry Potter movies came out around Thanksgiving weekend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's a pretty big weekend in the box office.
Well, yeah, because the day after Thanksgiving, a lot of people don't work either. So
Right.
that's like that leads into just make kind of like almost a 4-day weekend of sorts.
I gotta,
Um,
I gotta, I gotta throw this out there.
yeah.
I'm digging those sunglasses.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't remember where they came from, but to your point about decorations, we have all our decorations kind of in flux now between taking out Halloween stuff and trying to get some Thanksgiving stuff up. And there's always some like leftover Halloween decorations that are really just fall decorations that stay out a little bit longer. And there's like a very small bin that's just Thanksgiving stuff. And
Yep.
this happened to be in them. You have a nice piece of apparel as well, though. Is that a meeple?
I
A
do.
pilgrim
I
meeple?
got my pilgrim meeple, my Thanksgiving
Nice.
shirt. My wife made this for me, so yeah, I love it. I got right over here. I got one of my favorite Thanksgiving decorations. It's a little turkey.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a football helmet. Not
Nice.
just a football helmet, but a Detroit Lions helmet, which is
Ah.
important for two reasons. Numero uno, I love the Lions. I'm a Lions fan. Number two, They play every single year on Thanksgiving. So me living in, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, you get to see the Lions on TV a couple times a year, unless you get like direct TV or like pay through the nose for specific Lions, whatever channel they're on. But every year on Thanksgiving I get to watch them, and
Hmm.
that's part of tradition for me now.
I think they are winless this year, aren't they?
They are winless. However, they will not be the first team this year, at least, to go 0-17 because they tied the Steelers.
Yes, yes.
So,
So there's that.
yeah,
So obviously, food is really the centerpiece of this whole celebration for the most part.
yep,
And in our house now, we're lucky that Thanksgiving has become sort of our holiday. We host Thanksgiving
nice.
every year for the last, I want to say, probably like 6 years, maybe 7. And for some reason, every year when it comes around, my mother, for one reason or another, claims that there's no way we can host Thanksgiving this year. Well, you can't have Thanksgiving this year. Why not? Well, the first time it was, oh, because you guys are planning a wedding. It's like, all right. Next year it was, oh, you guys are you guys moving. And it was like, oh, well, Lauren's pregnant. You can't have Thanksgiving. And it was like, oh, you have a baby. You can't have Thanksgiving. Now you have 2 babies. You can't have Thanksgiving. It's like,
Yep,
what? Why? And we've done it every year, and nothing bad has happened.
nice. We've
Um,
only actually hosted once.
okay.
Um, but every year, we go here, we go there. We always come back and we have our own huge Thanksgiving dinner with either just me and my wife. Last year was, because last year was a pandemic. It was me, my wife, and, our, at that time, 1.5-year-old who's going to eat some mashed sweet potatoes and a little bit of turkey and done.
Hmm, hmm.
But we go all out. We can make like way too much food. And then we just eat it for the next 2 weeks. And every time I bring it into work, people are jealous.
Yeah, buddy.
Now, we already mentioned the parade and football. But other than those two things, there are a couple of like Thanksgiving specials that air on TV that I
Hmm.
just have to watch every single year. Specifically, uh, Happy Thanksgiving, Charlie Brown, or a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. I forget what it's called. And Garfield Thanksgiving is a really good one too. That one doesn't get as much notoriety as the
Hmm.
Halloween or the Christmas one, but it's just as good.
I don't remember that one.
See what I mean?
Yeah. I do love the Peanuts one though. It's one of my
Yeah.
favorites. Um, Watching Snoopy set up the chairs and stuff in the backyard
Yep.
is it's fantastic.
And another show, Friends, has a lot of Thanksgiving episodes.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
They really put the best foot forward with that holiday.
Yep,
And
agreed.
then there's a movie called I think Freebirds, which is pretty cool. Like the whole concept is these turkeys go back in time to try to change everybody from eating turkey to eating pizza every Thanksgiving, and then like it works. So like they come back to the present and everybody's eating pizza for Thanksgiving. So that's a cute one. We'll watch that one
Nice.
this year with our daughter.
Awesome. What about this year for the day? Are you guys gonna travel? Because now
Um,
you got
we're
2
not
kids now
sure yet.
too.
We've got some options.
Okay.
We're going to have our own, but we're not hosting. So we're going to do our own thing. But in terms of the day, we've got a couple of options. We haven't necessarily figured out exactly what we're going to do yet, though.
Cool. All right. Well,
On to gaming.
on to gaming. So we've got this big feast ahead of us. We're going to start off with some small plates, some appetizers, if you will, in the form of our honorable mentions. So, Eric, you've got a pretty appropriate one here for your first go
I
around.
do.
What do you got?
Now, before I mention this one, I just want to throw out this because you and I had talked about doing this for this holiday, party games,
Mm.
because you got a bunch of family over. Most likely, most of them aren't gamers, like grandparents and everything. And so you could find some nice party games and kind of bring them out on that day and really have a good time.
Yeah.
And we're not going to go over that. We'll do our own, a different party game thing. But I did want to bring that up because you came up with that, and that was a really good idea. I just wanted to throw it out there for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. And there's enough simple ones out there that, to your point, people can have not really have a lot of experience and still be able to pick something up
I had
pretty
uh, I
easily.
had I had family over for Halloween,
Mhm.
and we played just one. But instead of using the cards that come with the box, we just had one person pick a word that was somewhat related to Halloween,
Okay.
and then everybody would write stuff. So it was awesome. Everybody loved it.
Nice.
All right. So number one, this game is called Turkey Day. This is a game by Bobby Doran. I think that's how you pronounce it. Now, this is a print and play worker placement. So you can just go on BGG, download the files, print it all back, print it all up, and play it tonight, tomorrow, however long it takes you to print it to work. Um, it's a it seems I've never played this. It seems like a pretty simple game. It's a solo game. It takes about 5 minutes, and it's worker placement. So you basically have a bunch of cards, and you have these little glass beads that you have to bring your own. That you can't print them up, obviously. And you have about 12 turns to try to cover. You see on the board here, all these little red -1s and -3s. You
Right.
want to cover them all up. Those are all mishaps and problems that are happening while you're trying to make the food. Like, you have a problem with the stuffing. And so you're playing cards. I think they're event cards. And maybe grandma will come over and she'll help you out. And then you get to cover up a few extra ones. And it's cute. And this other card over here on the left, toilet backs up. That's
Oh
clearly
boy.
that's a negative. Now, now that brings me to a little bit of a silly point is that I work construction for a little while and I work with a plumber. And he used to tell me all the time that the day after Thanksgiving was the busiest day for plumbers. And that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, you got 12 turns, solo game. You try to cover up all these negatives, and then you win. That's pretty much the game as I understand it.
Hmm. Yeah, sounds cool. I mean,
Yeah.
it's print and play, so like you said, it's not like you're really paying for anything. Print it out. If you don't like it, you throw it away.
Yep.
Cool. All right, so I've got two here because they're different games, but the premise of them is pretty similar.
Right.
And one of them is pretty much almost the same exact name as yours, except it has
Yeah.
one word that's different. And instead of Turkey Day, that's Happy Turkey Day. So Happy Turkey Day is a like 20-minute game. This is by designer Chu Lao Cao. I am sure I'm butchering that, so I apologize. This is 3 to 5 players, and it's a simultaneous action selection slash card game. So one of those things where you're going to pick a card and then everybody's going to reveal it and do the thing that it says. Basically, though, you're either going to be eating or exercising to either gain weight or lose weight. And you want to be not the fattest turkey because the fattest turkey is going to get eaten for Thanksgiving
Yep.
thematically. And so your goal is to be the second fattest turkey. So second place is essentially the winner in this game because you got to eat a whole bunch of food and you didn't die. So that's a victory. Similarly,
I like the name of this other one.
in name as well. Just
I
I
got
mean,
to tell
there's
you, this,
no punches
so
pulled here.
the first game that we talked about, Turkey Day, and then this game, Fat Turkey. Out of the two of them, this game, Fat Turkey, that I assume that's the cover because that's what was on BGG. That one looks like the kind of game that would be a print and play, right? That looks like somebody just made that real quick, threw it up there, was like, "Hey, I just made this game."
Yeah,
Uh,
for sure. For sure.
there's no words on it or anything, but
I guess the
whatever.
the biggest difference I would say for Fat Turkey is the player count, right? This plays up to 9, which is again a high player count for Thanksgiving if you have family overs is kind of clutch, right? So the fact that this is up to 9 and it's also a card game and you're also eating food or losing weight, although instead of exercising, you're going to go to the bathroom, take a poop, and lose some weight that way.
Yeah.
So that's thematic as well. And the other biggest difference here is this one has player elimination, unlike the Happy Turkey Day. So for each round, the fattest turkey is going to be eliminated. So again, you want to kind of hold on and be close to fattest, but not fattest because you don't want to get plucked and stuffed and served up.
Right.
So a couple silly turkey games here about gaining weight because that's what people who are not Americans probably think about us Americans, and I can't say I blame them.
I can't say they're wrong.
We are
Speaking of
obese.
speaking of fat turkeys, This one just jumped up in my lap. Get out of here.
Oh,
Come on. All right. He's not going anywhere.
that's fine.
Okay. So on to our regular games. Oh, he's sitting on the wire.
Fat turkey.
Yep. All right. So the first game that I want to talk about here is Keyflower. Now,
Ah,
it's only really Thanksgiving themed because it's similar to Mayflower and you're discovering this new world and everything. But this is a great game. This is designed by Sebastian Bleasdale and Richard Brees, and it's a 2 to 6 player game. Takes about 90 to 120 minutes, so it's a little bit
hmm,
on the lengthy side.
okay.
Uh, and it plays ages 12 and up. So, and I think the complexity rating, I forget what that's called on BGG, was like a 3.5 or something, which is pretty much higher than most of the games that I own.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
But it's a really cool game. It's a worker placement, tile placement, auction game with like resource management. So there's a few things going on, and there's 4 rounds, one for each season, and it's gonna be these tiles out in the middle, and everybody's going to have a group of workers of different colors, red, yellow, blue. It's all random based on like the setup of the game,
Okay.
and you're going to use them. If you put them on the tile in the middle, then you can do the action on the tile, or you can put them on the side of the tile to bid for the tile and try to win it and bring it over to your area.
Okay.
One of the interesting things is that each tile can't have more than 6 meeples of the same color. You all, once somebody bids a red meeple on a certain tile, you can't try to outbid them with a blue meeple.
Okay.
But if you're going to use the tile and you put like 2 workers down on it, then somebody can put down 3 of the same color and outbid you. But then somebody
Mm.
else can't put out 4 because then you have more than 6. So it's a little weird to explain, but it's cool. It's interesting, and when you're actually playing it, it makes a lot of sense.
How does it work with two like that? Does that like fun?
The bidding's not that great. The auction part it's pretty much like if I want this tile, I can just put 3 guys there. Now, okay, well you can't get this tile. I just
Yeah,
put
yeah.
all 3 guys there, and I'm blocking you. But I might only have 7 workers, so that's
Right,
almost
right.
half of everything I can do.
So is it worth it really?
Exactly. So I can
Hmm.
put 1 guy there, and then if you put 2, I can still add more, or I can say, "Oh, I'm outbid," and then I take that worker and put him somewhere else. So it's not
Gotcha.
like if you lose out on the bid, you're still going to get that guy back. And when you're taking these workers, and when you're going to put them behind your little house there on the bottom of the picture, so that the opponent doesn't know how many of which color workers you still have left.
Hmm. Look how
Um,
cozy it looks in there.
right? They're getting ready to have a nice Thanksgiving dinner.
That's
And
cool.
then some of these tiles you can pay for them with these um, other tiles that are like a pickaxe or something, and then you can upgrade them and flip them over, and you'll see on the back what their upgraded version is. And yeah,
Gotcha. This is kind of part of a series, right? The key games.
I don't know if it's a series. I know there's Key Flow and there's another one, but then there's a couple others that also have Key, like Key Forge is no relation to this. Uh,
Yeah, no, no, yeah, that's true. I know that.
But there was a couple that I was like, oh, this is similar to that, but they're not all. But I know Key Flow is, but this one is Key Flow. This game
uh,
is very very highly rated on Board Game Geek. I don't know the exact number, but a lot of people have a lot of love for this game.
hmm,
I've
never
only
played
played
it.
it a handful of times. That's why I did sort of a poor job explaining it, but you get the gist.
The
Moving
gist
on.
is all we need here to kind of pick in here for our board game holiday spotlight. All right.
Yep.
Next up is a game that we have certainly wedged into to many, many videos, I believe, and that is Holiday Flux. So, Flux is a game that is really just cards, and you basically start with a rule that's like draw 1 card and play 1 card. That's all you do on your turn. But some of the cards that you can play are rules cards, and they're going to drastically change the way that you play the game, hence the name Flux. So you might play a card that all of a sudden tells you to now draw 3 cards instead of 1, or play 4 cards instead of 1, or crazy stuff like that. To win the game, there's going to be a specific goal card that's out there that usually consists of, here's 2 things you need to have, and if you have them, you win the game. So this game can be over very quickly based on that. You might just get really lucky and have those items pretty quickly. Or one of the other things that changes in the flux of the game is that you can play a different goal card. So you might be sitting pretty and you're like, oh, I got my pumpkin and my stuffing or whatever, and that's what I need to win. But then next person's turn, somebody changes the goal, and now you are nowhere near winning. So quirky fun. The holiday version here has, I don't know, most of the major holidays in it. As you can see, a good amount of Thanksgiving specific cards, which is pretty cool. And basically, that's the whole game. It's going to be, like I said, it could be 5 minutes, it could be 30 minutes. Totally depends on what the goals are. One that is definitely better with multiple players as opposed to 2, I found. But, you could still get it to the table if it's just 2 people if you really want to. I'd call it a couch game to an extent, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So that's Holiday Flux.
I don't know how much of that got edited out, but while Anthony was talking about this game, my cat farted on me, and I had to kick him out of here. And then he got wrapped up in the wire and everything. It was a big mess, and he stinks.
It stinks.
Anyway, that was Flux. The next game we're going to talk about, our final game that we're going to talk about, is called Carcassonne New World. Now, this is just another version of Carcassonne. This one was, I think they're all made by Klaus Jürgen Reedy.
Yeah, I believe so.
And 2 to 5 players, 45 minutes, plays 8 and up. And then actually on BGG, in parentheses, like what the community votes, is 10 and up. Usually it's a little bit lower. This one's a little bit higher.
Interesting.
So if you're familiar with Carcassonne, it's mostly the same game. These are tile placement games where you're building out a countryside. Now, in this particular version, you're going to have like the scoring track is part of the board, and you're going to build off of that. Mm-hmm. So you're basically settling into the new world. You're coming in on the East Coast, and you're building out west. And so there's surveyors that will force the building to continue to go west. So basically, once somebody scores, there's 2 surveyors. Once somebody scores any points, the easternmost surveyor moves 1 tile west. And then if there's any workers that were behind it that hadn't scored, like maybe there's a robber on a road or something, they're gone. They're off the board. You get them back, and you can try to play them out somewhere else. And they'll score you 0 points if they're back there, except for the trappers. The trappers act like farmers, where you lay them down, and then they'll score you points for the field based on how many of these animals are featured on these tiles.
So you don't lose those.
You don't lose the guys laying down.
Gotcha.
And it's pretty much the same, except for the fact that you're constantly having to, try to build westward, and you can score points and just score like 1 or 2 points just so that you can move the surveyor. And then the person who's going to now lose a meeple, if that happens, you kind of do that as like a little bit of a take that. Be like, oh, you're going to score a lot of points for that town? Well, now the surveyor's gone and you're not going to score any points. So it can be a little bit mean. We don't play this version of Carcassonne very much. And
it's definitely on the lower. It's on the lower end of them.
It might be our least favorite version of Carcassonne because it's like, a lot of times when you play this game, there's a little bit of take that when you're trying to steal somebody's farmland. You're like, haha, now I have 2 farmers on what you thought you had all by yourself because I connected them.
Right.
And, that can be a little mean. But we're used to that. This one adds another part where you can be like, oh, well, I'm going to hurry up and do this so that you're not going to score any points for. And that's not our cup of tea. It looks cool, it's got Plymouth 1620, so it's got a lot of Thanksgiving flavor,
Right.
and it's got these just cute little animals and these nice uh, colored woods with all the different colored leaves and everything, and
Yeah, I like that. That's really
yeah,
nice.
it looks really cool. It's not that great,
Mm.
but Thanksgiving, right? It's
Count it.
slim pickings, everybody, slim pickings.
This is like the leftovers. A
Yep.
couple days later, leftovers. What's left? Oh, Carcassonne New World is in there.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Yep.
All right, bring it out. Hey, you know what? If it's a game that you play once a year, or maybe like once every 2 years, if you don't get it every year, it is what it is.
Yep.
At least it's still Carcassonne.
It's something. It's something to play and get you kind of in that Thanksgiving spirit.
Nothing says Thanksgiving like surveyors and trappers.
And take that.
It's the equivalent of stealing like the last roll or something, right? From the table.
Oh, I thought you meant like from the bathroom. I was like, oh man,
No.
that's that
That's
on
that's
Thanksgiving.
really mean.
That
That's
is
really
take
mean.
that. Oh,
But if
that's
it's
like bread roll.
if it's your own
my mind
house,
went. My mind went right to the toilet.
it's all right. You got plumbing on the mind,
That is true. And that cat.
and that cat messed up your hands. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's the wonders of being a pet owner.
There you go. Well, folks, we've come to the end of our Thanksgiving special here in terms of games. So, as usual, we would love to hear from you. Perhaps there are some other Thanksgiving themed games that we have no idea about, although we did do a little bit of research. So, I wouldn't be surprised if Evan came up with something from like Japan about, like turkeys eating people on Thanksgiving or something like that, because that seems to be something he would know. I'm
Yep.
sure we'll find out. But if you have any Thanksgiving traditions that you'd like to let us know about, if you are not from the United States, if you do have any other similar type of holiday in a country that you're from, be interesting to hear about that as well. Other than that, though, Eric, is there anything else you want to add before we take our nap on the couch?
I forgot to mention Lewis and Clark: The Expedition as another Thanksgiving themed game. Because it's
Oh,
got the settlers and the Native Americans and everything. So it's not about the Thanksgiving meal, but
right.
it's got some history in it. But other than that, happy Thanksgiving. Go Lions.
There you
And
go.
uh, and I hope there's some cool floats in the parade this year. I love watching. I like seeing Snoopy. Snoopy float's always cool, and Pikachu. He's a pretty cool float as well,
Baby Yoda this year, or Grogu,
right?
and who else? Ronald McDonald usually there. There's
And then
usually a couple
Santa
of
Claus.
things I never heard of.
Santa
But
Claus
Santa
at
Claus,
the end.
well, yes, he
Yep.
wraps it up. Wraps it up. All right,
Kicks
folks.
off that Christmas.
Kicks off that Christmas spirit. And, speaking of that, we will have several videos for the Christmas holiday season. So stay tuned for that, including some gift giving ideas and
That's
just
next
some
week, right? Next
regular
week's
old
Stocking Stuffers
holiday
Dadcast.
stuff. Yeah, I think we're doing Dadcast for stocking stuffers. So check that out next week. All right, folks, that's it for us tonight. Enjoy your Thanksgiving meal, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
See ya.